For 35 years, I've managed my diabetes with military precision. When my son Raymond brought me a celebration drink for my 66th birthday, I knew something was wrong. Type 1 diabetics don't celebrate with mystery cocktails. My name is Harold Nelson, and I've been living with type 1 diabetes since I was 31 years old. Back then, blood sugar testing meant mixing urine with chemicals. Now, at 66, I check my glucose 6 times a day and calculate insulin doses like a mathematician. It's kept me alive when doctors said I might not see 50. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment where you're watching from. Raymond arrived that Saturday morning with champagne and a crystal pitcher filled with what looked like fruit punch. "Dad, I made you something special," he said. "It's a celebration cocktail, tropical flavors just like Mom used to make." But my wife Maria never made celebration cocktails. She died 8 years ago knowing how dangerous sugar could be for me. Every birthday since had been quiet. Sugar-free cake, diet soda, careful portions. Raymond knew this. "What's in it?" I asked, studying the red liquid. It looked thick, syrupy, with fruit chunks floating near the bottom. "It's a surprise." Raymond smiled, but something felt forced. "Pineapple juice, cranberry, some special ingredients. I wanted to do something different for your 66th. Different. That word sent a chill down my spine. In diabetes management, different usually means dangerous. I've survived by being predictable, methodical, and suspicious of anything I can't calculate. "Son, you know I can't drink something without knowing what's in it." "Dad, relax. It's your birthday. Live a little." Raymond's tone had an edge I'd never heard. "I spent hours making this. The least you could do is try it." But what happened next would reveal just how far my own son was willing to go. I watched Raymond pour the cocktail into 2 glasses, filling mine to the brim while barely covering the bottom of his. "Cheers, Dad," he said. "Here's to many more birthdays." Something about how he held his glass, too far from his lips, never taking a sip, triggered every survival instinct I'd developed. Type 1 diabetics become experts at reading dangerous situations. "You first," I said, nodding toward his glass. Raymond's smile faltered for just a moment. "Dad, come on. I made this for you. It's your special day. If it's so good, you won't mind drinking yours first." He took what looked like a sip, but I noticed his lips barely touched the liquid. The level hadn't changed. After 66 years, I know when someone is lying. "I need to test this," I said, reaching for my glucose meter. "Test what? You're being paranoid. It's just fruit juice." "Then you won't mind me checking the sugar content." That's when Raymond's mask started slipping. "You can't test drinks with that thing." Wrong. I'd been using my meter to test foods and drinks for years. Blood glucose monitors can estimate sugar content in liquids. Not perfect, but close enough to keep a diabetic alive. I dipped a test strip into the cocktail and inserted it into my meter. The reading took 15 seconds as I watched Raymond's face grow pale. The meter beeped. The display made my blood run cold, but the number I saw would change everything I thought I knew about my son. 847 mg/dl. That's what the meter read. Normal blood sugar is around 100 mg. Diabetic emergency starts around 400 mg. What Raymond gave me would have triggered diabetic coma. "This machine has kept me alive for 15 years. It's not broken." I looked directly at my son. "What did you put in this drink?" "I told you, it's just fruit juice. 847 milligrams per deciliter. That's liquid sugar with flavoring. This would have killed me within hours." Raymond stood up so quickly his chair fell backward. Dad, you're overreacting. Nice. I stood too, feeling anger that makes diabetics' blood pressure spike. Raymond, if I had drunk this, I'd be in a coma. Is that what you wanted? The silence stretched between us. Raymond's eyes darted toward the door, then back to me. I should go, he said finally. Yes, you should, but first tell me exactly what you put in this drink and why. Raymond sat back down and looked me in the eye. What he said next confirmed my worst suspicions. I've been having financial problems, Dad. Caroline's been pressuring me about house payments and my business isn't doing well. My heart sank. Not because of money problems. I'd suspected those, but because of what they implied. And you thought this was the solution? I gestured toward the cocktail. Raymond didn't answer directly. Instead, he pulled out his phone and showed me something that made the glucose reading seem minor. But what I discovered next about Raymond's plan would shock me even more. Raymond's phone screen showed my life insurance policy. He'd photographed it, highlighting the $750,000 death benefit. You've been going through my papers, I said quietly. Dad, I'm your only family. I have power of attorney. I need to know these things. Medical power of attorney doesn't give you access to insurance documents. That requires breaking into my desk. He looked embarrassed. Caroline found it when she was cleaning your office. We weren't snooping. Planning my death? The words hung in the air. Raymond's face went white, then red, then settled into desperate calculation. It wasn't supposed to be like this, he said. Caroline said it would look like you forgot to manage your diabetes. People our age make mistakes with medication. Our age? Raymond, I'm 66, not 86. I've been managing this condition longer than you've been married. But you've been forgetting things. Caroline thought maybe your control wasn't as good. I interrupted him. I haven't forgotten anything. My last A1C was 6.8, better than most diabetics half my age. Raymond looked genuinely surprised. But Caroline said you'd been confused, missing appointments, forgetting insulin. She said Dr. Peterson was concerned about dementia. Now I understood. This wasn't just about money. They'd been building a narrative to explain away my accidental death. Raymond, I've never missed an appointment. I take insulin with precision. Caroline has never spoken to Dr. Peterson because she's never been to my appointments. You want to know why? Because she's been planning this for months and you're too naive to realize you're not the mastermind, you're the fall guy. But what I had discovered about Caroline's real plan would destroy their entire scheme. After Raymond left, I sat staring at that pitcher of poison and realized I needed help. Not from family. That was compromised, but professional help. I called Maria Gonzalez, my neighbor who's a registered nurse. Maria has been checking on me since her husband died, and she knows my medical condition. Harold, what's wrong? You sound shaken. I explained the cocktail, the glucose reading, and Raymond's confession. Maria listened without interrupting. Harold, you need to call the police. This is attempted murder. I need more evidence first. Bring me that cocktail. I want to run it through our lab. An hour later, Maria called with results worse than I'd imagined. Harold, that drink contains enough sugar to kill a horse. But that's not the scary part. We found traces of insulin. Insulin? Someone added rapid-acting insulin to massive sugar content. It's like creating a diabetic roller coaster. Your blood sugar would spike dangerously, then crash when the insulin kicked in. Either direction could kill you. I felt sick. That's sophisticated medical knowledge. More sophisticated than Raymond would have. Harold, whoever planned this, understands diabetes better than most doctors. That evening, I called my insurance agent, Lisa Torres. Lisa, I need to ask about my policy. Who has been making inquiries recently? Harold, I can't discuss. Lisa, someone just tried to kill me for that policy. There was a pause. Your daughter-in-law called 6 months ago. She said she was handling your medical affairs and needed to understand policy terms. She asked about deaths from diabetic complications. What did you tell her? The diabetic deaths are covered like natural deaths, as long as there's no evidence of suicide or deliberate mismanagement. Caroline had been planning this for half a year. She'd researched exactly how to make it look accidental, but Caroline didn't know that I'd been documenting everything. For 3 months, I'd been keeping a detailed diabetes journal. Not because I suspected anything, but because Dr. Peterson recommended it for insurance. Every blood sugar reading, insulin dose, carbohydrate count, documented with timestamps. The journal proved my diabetes control was exceptional. More importantly, it proved Caroline's claims about my confusion were fabrications. I spent the next week building a case. Maria helped get the cocktail analyzed by Kelvin Jones, a forensic specialist who confirmed massive sugar content and rapid-acting insulin. Detective Susan Clark took my statement and investigated Raymond and Caroline's finances. What they found was escalating debt and desperate behavior. Caroline had been borrowing against their house, taking cash advances, even stealing from Raymond's clients. They faced bankruptcy within months. The insurance money wasn't attractive. It was their only way out. Detective Clark set up a controlled meeting. I would call Raymond, tell him I felt unwell after drinking the cocktail, and ask him to come over. The conversation would be recorded, police positioned outside. Raymond arrived within 20 minutes, bringing Caroline. Both carried overnight bags. "Dad, how are you feeling?" Raymond asked, eyes scanning the room. "Not good. My blood sugar has been erratic since yesterday. I think that drink affected me more than I thought." Caroline stepped forward. "Harold, you should go to the hospital. These episodes can be serious." "Maybe you're right. But first, I need to ask you both something." I looked at Caroline. "Why did you tell Raymond I'd been forgetting medications?" Caroline went blank. What do you mean?" "Raymond told me you were concerned about my mental state, that you thought I was developing dementia." "Harold, I never said that." Caroline looked at Raymond with panic. Raymond stared at his wife. "Caroline, you told me Dad had been calling Dr. Peterson worried about memory problems." "I never—" "Raymond, what are you talking about?" That's when I knew I had them. Caroline had been playing Raymond, feeding him false information to make him believe I was declining. The cocktail was supposed to look inevitable, but Caroline hadn't counted on me testing the drink, and she hadn't counted on me recording this. "The police would like to speak with both of you," I said quietly. Detective Clark knocked on the door and Caroline's plan fell apart. The trial took 8 months, but the evidence was overwhelming. The forensic analysis of the cocktail, my detailed diabetes journal, the insurance inquiries, and the recorded confession created a case that Caroline's expensive defense attorney couldn't challenge. Raymond pled guilty to attempted murder and received a reduced sentence of 12 years in exchange for his testimony against Caroline. During his testimony, it became clear that Caroline had been manipulating him for over a year, gradually convincing him that I was becoming a burden and that my death would be a mercy. Caroline refused to plea bargain. She maintained her innocence right up until the jury returned a guilty verdict on charges of conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, and elder abuse. The judge sentenced her to 25 years in state prison. The most devastating moment came when Raymond testified about Caroline's reaction to learning about my diabetes management skills. She said Harold was too careful, that we needed to create a situation he couldn't control even if he wanted to. That's when she suggested adding insulin to make the blood sugar swing unpredictable. Caroline had turned my own medical condition into a weapon and used my son as the delivery system. Dr. Peterson testified about my excellent diabetes control and explained to the jury exactly how the cocktail would have killed me. Mr. Nelson's glucose management is among the best I've seen in 30 years of endocrinology. This wasn't medical negligence. This was sophisticated sabotage designed to exploit a chronic condition. 6 months after the sentencing, Raymond called me from prison. I almost didn't answer. "Dad, I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I need you to know something. I never wanted to hurt you. Caroline convinced me you were suffering, that your diabetes was getting worse, that you'd be better off." "Raymond, stop. You're 41 years old. You've known about my diabetes for 35 years. You watched me manage it successfully through your childhood, your mother's death, and every major life event we've shared. At what point did you decide I was too stupid to continue managing it myself?" He was quiet for a long time. "I was scared about money. Caroline said we'd lose everything if we didn't do something drastic. So you decided to murder your father instead of asking for help." "Dad, Raymond, I had $200,000 in savings accounts you didn't know about. If you'd asked for help with your financial problems, I would have helped you, but you chose to try to kill me instead." That was the last conversation I had with my son. Today I'm 68 years old and my diabetes control is still exceptional. My A1C is 6.5. I exercise daily and I've never felt healthier. I've also never felt more aware of how precious life becomes when you realize someone close to you tried to take it away. If you're managing a chronic condition like diabetes, remember that knowledge is survival. The more you understand about your condition, the harder it becomes for anyone, even family, to use it against you. And if you're struggling with financial problems, remember that money troubles are temporary. Family relationships, once destroyed by betrayal, can never be fully repaired. Thank you for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, please subscribe and share your experiences in the comments. Sometimes the most important stories are the ones that teach us to protect ourselves from the people who should be protecting us.